AB on.
Welcome back to Supremely Black Podcast. This is your co-host D Rose, man. How's everybody doing this weekend? Doing this week, fellas? It's weekend, man.
Ready for the weekend already, ain't you?
Man, that Monday off, got it like that, man.
Oh, y'all had MLK Day off?
Yeah, I work for with a bank, so yeah, it's over with. It was closed.
That's crazy. Yeah. At my job, my department, we supposed to be open and closed when banks open and close, but not so far on MLK Day. We sure was in there just to work.
Yeah, they actually have that on their list, and Juneteenth as well. So that actually starts this year. So
we ain't got either one. I think somebody put in a request for Juneteenth. We're gonna see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But the name of the company you work for, I completely understand why you off of MLK Juneteenth. But doing good this week, man. My sister gonna graduate this weekend with a doctorate in nursing, so the boy finna take a trip to Florida in a couple of days and go watch my sister graduate with her doctorate in nursing, man. She's doing big things down there in Memphis. Doing her own thing. Shout out to my sister Treese Flake, man. She rocking it, knocking it out.
Yeah, Treese, y'all going to Orlando, right?
Yeah, be down in Orlando. I already booked a couple shows down there too.
That's what's up.
Got to do that.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. What's going on in your world, Spirit?
All is good with me. Everything good on my end. Cowboys got a good win yesterday, so all is well with me.
So everybody can't celebrate playoff wins, can experience, man.
Oh, y'all still talking about football, man? Yeah.
All right, you stay with Kaepernick, my man.
Yeah. I stay with Kaepernick, brother. I don't know nothing about that food sport that y'all talking about, man. Foosball. Nah, man. Everything good, man. I actually got out and got me a Garmin watch to work out. So it's been tracking it. So I got back out to running. What was it, this weekend a few times, man. It feels good to get back out there on the pavement. I will say that running is not just something that you could just walk away from for a little minute and just come back like you just that guy. But boy, it was about a half a mile in on that first day. And I hit that pause on that on my watch and said, oh yeah, this it's been chilling. I didn't even realize how long it had been. I haven't ran since like October. Because, my previous occupation, I was doing all this standing. So, yeah, I wasn't getting out doing no running. But, man, it was just good just to really get to tracking it. In the group, even our group chat, a lot of us are still staying active, posting a little motivation to keep everybody going. So, life is good, man. I really can't complain, won't complain. Everybody around me good. Everybody here is still here. So, the most important part. But jumping right into our topic, man. So just to kind of give a breakdown on it, Ed Reed had took the job at Bethune Cookman in Daytona, Florida, HBCU, if you do not know. Recently, he came out with a video trashing the entire school. Said that Coach Prime was right about how a lot of bullshit is happening with HBCUs, man. So seen the videos. I want to know what y'all's takes on this. Do you think that Ed Reed was right for calling them out and that's a place of accountability? Or do you find the way he took it or spoke about it as unprofessional, especially since he's not someone that's technically under contract yet? He's just been named the coach. It's not any paperwork involved yet. So what's your thoughts?
I ain't mad at Ed Reed. I think he did what he did because he was getting a lot of heat on the back end for some stuff, and that's the reason why he went to social media, and he normally don't jump on social media, and wanted to get some things straight. I didn't take it as he was trashing. I just took it as he was jumping on to get some things straightened out that he was doing. Like he showed evidence of like, this is what I'm doing while I'm here. Like this field right here was nothing. I done cleared it out. We get it done for this. This building is full of trash. We in here cleaning it out. We making changes down here, and we using our resources to get things done down here. Now, could he approach it a little different? Probably so. He probably didn't have to do that. But he wanted to bring light to some things, and while y'all trashing Deion, while y'all trashing all these coaches that may go to some HBCUs, it's a lot of work that we put in that if you go to another university that you don't have to worry about. So you really gotta love being there. And I think that was the point he was making that some people miss, that I gotta really love being here to be doing all this extra stuff that I'm doing, that I'm not getting paid to do. I'm not under contract, and I'm here early doing everything to try to get things moving for the season that's upcoming. That's my thought.
I didn't see the videos. I just heard of the hire. So I'm not aware of the videos or anything. I just heard of the hire. So as far as the hire, even though I know it's not official yet, I believe is great for HBCUs. I believe it's great for Bethune Cookman specifically. And I think that Ed Reed's stature and credibility and what he stands for will be inspirational, but also impactful and important to the young man and to the school in general, and just the resources that somebody of his stature could bring, just like a Deion did, Ed Reed can. I know Deion is a little bit more, has a little bit more notoriety as far as visibility in culture and community, just because, you know, Deion did TV, Deion did a whole bunch of different things and all that other stuff. But I do think Ed Reed will still have just as much or as strong as an impact as Deion did with Jackson State and with the HBCU community as a whole. And then one thing that I do know about Ed Reed, just being a fan and everything, is he's a no BS type of guy. So basically, from what I'm hearing and learning from y'all about the videos, that goes right in pointing with his character and what he's about. So he's not gonna sugarcoat nothing. He ain't gonna BS with you. He's gonna let you know what it is and put it on the table and go from there. So I think it's a good thing for Bethune Cookman specifically, but I think it's a good thing for HBCUs. And, you know, the more that we get our people to, even if it's for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever, the more that we get our people back involved with our community and our schools that are specifically for us, the better it is. So it ain't no lose-lose situation. It's a win-win situation. So regardless if he decides to step away, or regardless even if because of some backlash from the videos that y'all talking about, that it doesn't even go through, the work that he did where he was cleaning up and he was doing this stuff, that's still a plus and a positive. And so therefore, people, as we stated when we did the Deion episode, people need to focus on their part in what they're doing versus on what another man and what this person's doing. And if you got so much to say, or if you got so much to judge and ridicule, then that means you need to step your ass in them shoes and do something your damn self. So that's all I got to say about that.
Well, I do have a question in regards to that, because I think both of you all made very valid points. To one, that Ed Reed's character, he's very no nonsense, straight to the point. This is what we got going on, right? It's another thing in there calling out just accountability, calling out of what they're going through, or what they're actually seeing on a daily basis. Now, I look at it like this: do you think that it could rub people the wrong ways? Because you think about like Eddie George's situation, he's been kind of quiet in TSU, but it could be some things that are going on within Nashville that a lot of people should be mindful of, right? Or even just take notice to. But with Deion really not saying much when he got to Jackson State, he's kind of filmed it, so he kind of let the evidence speak for itself. With Ed Reed and him with Ed Reed co-signing of what Prime said, does that speak more to their entitlement, or does that really just question of what their purpose is there? Because it almost comes across to me is that it could be, I'm here to help you all. I don't necessarily need this. It doesn't seem like it's just purposeful driven, because it's a lot of, for lack of better words, it seems like it's a lot of ego that's tied to it, than more or less of just doing the grounds work. Because a lot of times, if you walk into these situations, it's going to be challenges. What's the point of pointing it out when you knew what you were walking into? Because it kind of seems like it's a little bit of entitlement more than just purpose driven.
I think it's more of a situation, and let me use this as an example. When somebody needs some help, you go help them out and they act like they don't appreciate it. Or you let somebody borrow a certain amount of dollars, a certain amount of money, and they say, I'm gonna pay you back by this certain time. That certain time come. And be like, dang man, you sweating me over there, man. You know you a little funky $100. It's like, bro, and to be honest, they don't have to be there. Deion didn't have to go to Jackson State. Ed Reed didn't have to go to Bethune Cookman. Like, they don't have to be there, but it's some fact that I'm doing work that some other coach wouldn't do. Like, I'm out here, y'all ain't got me under contract. 90% of them coaches, you ain't got them under contract. They're not stepping foot on your campus until their contract is signed. And I seen where some people was calling them stupid. Well, it's your dumb fault for going there and you ain't under contract. But his point is kind of like, well, bro, none of that matter, because I want to be here and I got to go ahead and get started on what needs to be done. So I think it reads like it might be understandable that I ain't signed a contract yet, because they might not have the money just yet, and I understand that. But I'm gonna go ahead and go down here and get a head start on what's going on and try to get the program running. Now, it's a lot of people also saying like, man, you went to Bethune Cookman. It's like one of the worst ones you can start off with. I visited Bethune Cookman because my daughter she was cheerleading down that way, and she had a school report to do, so we went to the campus. It ain't the best campus I've seen, to be honest with you, but it's like if somebody down there to turn it around and work through that, don't ridicule that man, because he ain't got to be doing nothing. Like, he basically down there doing all this stuff for free right now. He ain't got to do nothing but coach and get them boys ready to play. And he ain't got to do nothing else and shouldn't hear them nobody else. It's like, we can't ridicule these people for going the extra mile, in my opinion, going the extra mile. And I can be sitting up on my ranch, or I can be sitting up doing something else, or I can use my notoriety to be a DB coach at a PWI. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could have did that, but they make a decision to go to an HBCU school. Also, Ed Reed said, I don't know exactly what he meant, but he said, this ain't my only stop at an HBCU. So basically, like, I took it as, I'm gonna help Bethune Cookman out and get to a certain point, and if the opportunity comes, I might move up to a bigger HBCU school and coach there. I hope that's what he meant. I'm not 100% sure, but he was just saying, this is not gonna be my only stop at the HBCU. So y'all don't be trying to hold this man in 9-10 years. I'm telling y'all now, this ain't gonna be his only spot. So I'm looking at maybe 3, maybe.
Got you. What's your thoughts on that, Spirit?
For me, there's no sense of entitlement, because at the end of the day, you can't change nothing that's not brought into the light. If everything continues to happen the way that it's been happening, therefore, things will keep going the way that they've been going. And so I think he's just bringing things to the light, and he wants people to step up to where they can step up. The people that need be, the forces that need be, whether that's alumni, whether that's staff and administration, whether if that's the president and the provost and things like that. So, well, whatever parties that he actually needs to step up, I think that's the reasoning behind him doing what he's doing. I don't think you can be entitled when you do an act of service to the magnitude that they did it. I don't think there's ever a point that where you can be entitled, unless you just say, once, like if you got there and then you quit mid-season, then yeah, that's a sense of entitlement, because then you're saying, oh, I'm too good for this. I'm just gonna quit on these young man or whoever I gave my word to that I'm gonna be here. So that's the only way that I would see a sense of entitlement. I just think he's trying not to be insane. And, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So he's making sure that, certain people are held to a certain standard, and he's trying to bring Bethune Cookman to that standard. To be honest with you, I don't know if Bethune Cookman is a private institution or if it's public where they get some, funding from the state of Florida or whatnot. But a lot of our HBCUs are in the state of Bethune-Cookman, to be honest with you. It's probably about 10% that's in the state of a Hampton, Howard, Tennessee State, North Carolina, A&T. I would even say Morehouse and Spelman, even though if you go to those schools are very small and compact and everything, but some of their buildings may look historical on the outside because they're old and when the schools was founded and everything, but there might be some renovations on the inside. However, most I want to say, and don't quote me on this because again I didn't do no statistical research, but I'll say about 85% of HBCUs are run down, need a lot of maintenance and a lot of work done to that school and some resources poured in, and are underfunded and probably in a deficit unless they are government funded and by the state or whatever the case may be. But a lot of our HBCUs are in a deficit. They need money, they need help, they need resources. And so therefore, if we keep acting like, things are okay and keep sweeping things on the rug, nothing will be changed. So I don't think it came from a sense of entitlement. That's my personal opinion.
Another thing is, like, I feel as if that, what's necessarily the end game? Because I know walking into like a Bethune, and like you said, 85% of the schools are underserved. And for the ones that do get state funded, I did do some research and see that there's been billions left for like TSU, North Carolina A&T. It's a lot of schools that are, fighting lawsuits. Some, like PV, has actually won against the state a few times in regards to misallocated funds. So it's a continued battle. I wonder, my overall take on it is that what I'm starting to see, like, as a trend is, if we get the athletic program moving in one direction, by athletic program just meaning the football team, that should just change the trajectory of everything that's coming. And okay, hey, we have Prime, we have Eddie George, we have Ed Reed, that they have these billionaire resources. However, like, how do you get those people to put pressure on the politicians, the local people that are actually going to have to sign off on getting you your funds? And then if not, they need to be assembling your lawyers that are actually going to be going to the court to fight for your funds, because at the end of the day, it can't just be on one man. It can't just be on the football program. So I guess, and I'm ignorant to it because I've never been to an HBCU. What do you all consider as the end game, that everything's being called out before it just continues to be just like, the PWIs are going to win and the kids aren't going to want to go there, is because look how these famous football players and everybody else treat them. Like, hell no, I don't want to go there. Like, parents can be like, nah, we're not doing HBCUs. These guys ain't even going to be there until you graduate. If you're playing football, you got to at least be in school 3 years before you could go. Like, it's a lot of different changes. So do you think that all of the accountability, which is coming from the right place, do you think it would come across as distasteful from the outside looking in when you think about the parents and the kids that are wanting to put their kids in the HBCU?
Not at all, because all of that is irrelevant. At the end of the day,
how is it irrelevant though?
I'm about to explain. At the end of the day, any coach can leave at any time. A coach could be at a school, at a PWI or HBCU 1 year and decide to go to a different school. So it doesn't matter how long the coach say. It doesn't matter if the coach is there today, tomorrow he could be gone. He could get fired, he could decide to move, he could even get hired from a different coach and they have to pay the buyout and then he goes somewhere else. So one, that's irrelevant. Two, and I'm not talking about irrelevant from a standpoint of your point, I'm talking about for parents or people to make that a concern, because that's just a matter of the business. And
I wouldn't take it as you was talking directly to me. I'm just more or less, when you said it's irrelevant, more or less of like, give me some context behind it, because I feel like it's very relevant, because I feel like a lot of coaches or a lot of players, especially in this NIL, they won't even have to look at HBCUs when somebody else can pay me. Like it went from being like the dream to get there to now it's like, with everything that's coming out, it's almost like, are they putting a black eye on HBCUs even more? That's where I was coming from.
And still, I say that's irrelevant because of exactly what you said. You can make money anywhere now, as long as you have the skill set. Your skill set can get you in the door anywhere now because of NIL, because also because of what you bring to the table. So the NFL, because of what Deion has done, and you know, the black combine that he created and everything a couple of years ago, whatnot, the NFL doesn't have the excuse no more to just overlook HBCUs because of some of the pressure that's been put on. But also, just from a standpoint, let's say Deion didn't do what he did, and we still live in the age of NIL, and then we still also live in the age of worrying about whether a coach is going to be there the whole tenure of your child's education or time at a school. Well, in the business of coaching, a coach can leave whenever, a coach can get fired whenever. A coach is not mandated to his contract as specific as a student used to be mandated to their contract. The other thing too, with this new age that I didn't have the privilege of, you get to transfer for free one time, you know, without having to wait to having to sit or anything like that. So again, say Coach Reed come there and then he's there this year in 2023, 2024, he get a better opportunity, or they decide not to keep him and he get fired. That student athlete can decide to then therefore put themselves in the transfer portal and go somewhere else. So that's what I mean by it's irrelevant. Some of them concerns are just concerns for people to try to find problems versus solutions, and to try to pinpoint things towards the HBCU versus not realizing that happens at PWIs too. So then therefore we shouldn't make things more strenuous for our HBCUs when the same thing happens at the PWI. And so that was my reason for saying it was irrelevant.
Coming from a different angle on that is that I know for sure Tennessee State has been fighting to get money owed from the state. There's been other HBCUs that's been fighting to get the money owed from states. However, what you got to do, that don't get the light that Ed Reed give or Deion Sanders or Eddie George when they say something. You actually got to go and do your research to find out that, oh, they owe this amount of money. Oh, so they trying to fight for it. Like when they was talking about shutting Fish University down. Fish University had to actually sell stuff, but then you had to go back later on to find out, oh, Fish University is private, but they also owe an amount of money from the state, even though they private, and they got to go fight for those certain monies to be able to see. So the end goal is basically get these HBCUs, in my opinion, get them up and running to the proper level of what they used to. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what, and to even move even further, even better from that. So like when Ed Reed saying, hey, this school got a whole building over here full of trash. We finna clean that out and use this building and find out what's going on so we can get this building up and going so we can have some use to it. That building probably hadn't been used because of money not allocated for them to be able to keep up the building or whatever. So they're like, hey, we gotta leave this alone because we got all this other stuff that we gotta take care and handle. We can close that down and move classes here or whatever that situation is. I don't think it gives a black eye to those HBCUs with them calling things out, because this is your reality. You know, it's basically telling you straight up, when you come to HBCU or this HBCU, this is what you might run into while you're here. Instead of going to school there and then finding out like, oh, fam, you got a dirt road for me to park on for me to go to class. Which when I went down there in like 2002, that was the case. So like these kids parking, they ain't even a parking lot there. They parking on a dirt road and like, But somebody who don't go to FAMU might not know that, and if somebody call that out, they might get a donor and be like, oh shoot, that's my old school. I ain't been out there in 10 years. That's what's going on. I got a homeboy to own a paving company. Hey, I need you to go down there. I'm gonna pay you to go down there and pave them out of parking lot. So I think what happens is a lot of stuff gets swept under the rug. If it's not talked about, a lot of people don't know. Because like we stated before, a lot of people go on campus, for football games, homecoming, this, that, for the party, this and the other, and they might not see that other side of campus that's not looking so great. So I really don't have a problem with them, I guess, putting the spotlight on stuff. I hope Ed Reed will be down there talking to governors and mayors and things of that nature. It might not be his calling to do so. However, we do know, I don't know for a fact, but I do know there's been cases where these HBCU presidents been talking to mayors, governors, trying to figure out where this money at, or can y'all help us do this or help us do that as well. So I hope the end game is to get the schools back up like they're supposed to be, get all the buildings back up, get all the money allocated to them that's owed to them, so they can pay teachers correctly, so they can get the best experience they can for these students. One thing we cannot do is try to compete, and I think that's where we fail in that, in my opinion, is that we try to compare the HBCU to the University of Florida, to Florida State University. We a whole lot smaller school than they are, so certain things is not going to happen as quick or be as good as a school that got, I don't know, 150,000 students or whatever. And it's just not going to happen like that.
And then the last thing I want to say about it too is another thing I think why a lot of it starts with football is because football is one of the biggest revenue assets to a school. So at a PWI or a HBCU, it brings in revenue far more faster and at a more lucrative rate than almost any other department or resource than anything else in that school. So I think that's why a lot of it has been starting in the HBCUs with football, and why the focus may be so-called on the football team is just because of the resources that they bring to the school and how instrumental and helpful that is to the school in whole.
Well, that's not even HBCU. They go for PWIs as well, because they can fit.
No, I say that PWIs too.
Oh, okay, my fault. Well, and just to extend on that, that's because you can fit more people in the stadium. Even if it's sold out, there's people standing outside the stadium. You got concessions. You got more attendance at those games. You charge for parking and everything else. So the people who don't make it into the stadium, you don't charge them $20, $30 a head to tailgate outside. Some colleges charge an overall fee for you, reserve an area and tailgate at. So, but you can't do that type of stuff in like basketball, tennis, golf, and things like that nature. You just can fit more people involved in the football game than you can all the other sports.
And people from the city who might not even attended the school still come to those games and whatever, because they live in the city, they're fans, that's who they cheer for, root for. So then people who may not ever attend the college at all, or may went to a different college, but they live in that city, they still go there for the experience and the vibe. So then that's still more resources from, different places versus just alumni and things like that, so.
Yeah, I got you. I think that's a great discussion, and I wrap it up with this. It's just I think that we all made some valid points, and I would just say for the logical thinkers, what we're saying will make sense. I still think that with everything that's being pointed out, that most of us may know if people that have dealt with HBCUs or went to HBCUs, so we're aware of some of these things. I just wonder for the emotional people that are teetering on that brink, if that this little point out here, this little point out there, going to stray them away, that's actually going to impact the kids. Because at the end of the day, the kids are just making a decision, but the parents also have a huge impact on it. And I just wonder if the little ribs here and there it's starting to impact the kids being able to make it go to an HBCU as they want to, but then the parents having and the community around them, like, you know what they say that's going on down there, that's where I'm going at with it. So for the logical people, I think so. It will be considered as irrelevant, but for the emotional thinkers or people that just go with what's cool, I definitely think it's going to impact some kids being able to actually go to the HBCU they want to, because the parents and the community are going to be in their ear like, why go deal with that when you can go over here and not have to worry about it? And that's how it be sold. It's been sold for years. I don't think that's going to change. So that's just how I'll close it out with that.
I just got one more thing to say what that is. And what you said, everything is true. I just want for the supporters and listeners to also think of the flip side of that. What you won't deal with at a HBCU, or what you might experience at a HBCU, you're going to experience the opposite at a PWI. So you got to think about dealing with racism. You got to think about dealing with things of that nature, of being not viewed as the same, or even learning about your culture or yourself and being around people who look at you. So there's different things that goes on with, there's pros and cons to everything. So I just don't want people to be so negative towards our people and then so positive towards a different group of people, when there's pros and cons in every walk of life, in every aspect. And so that's all I want to say.
Yeah, and just to chime in on that, then we can move on. But I didn't even attend HBCU, but I got a lot of friends who did. I used to date somebody from the HBCU. So I got a lot of the HBCU experience without even attending the class. I mean, that's right. You get a side of Black people that you thought you knew, but when you meet these people from other areas, other places, man, it opened your eyes to a whole bigger world of how Black people are. You're going to meet all different types of Black people, for sure, that you never thought that existed. You will meet. That is for damn sure.
So to move on to the next topic, I know we have discussed things of this nature far too many times because of just the world that we live in, and we as Supremely Black, it weighs heavy on us when we do discuss things like this and when we talk about things like this, but because we are a voice for our people and we try to bring light to things, we got to touch on the stuff and talk about it. So there's two things that's happened recently that is very disheartening, upsetting, whatever other adjective you want to add to it. So one is Ladin Boykins, the 12-year-old who was killed when the police officers did a illegal PIT stop on a car, and they lied for months. It may have even been a year or a little bit longer than that, where they lied and said they didn't do nothing illegal or whatever when the boy died in the backseat of a vehicle. And that's in Georgia. And then where the teacher, Mr. Keenan Anderson, was just killed from cardiac arrest because he was tased so much and had too many volts shock his heart and basically kill him. And I believe that was in LA. So one, I say this many a times and it keeps reigning true, but I understand life because even myself have fallen short of holding our elected officials, but also our police officers, to the standard that they're supposed to be held to. And we keep having too many instances like this. So I pray that something changes and something gives, and that we we put our foots on their neck in the aspect of getting back to the point where we're still talking about defunding the police. We're still talking about avenues to make sure that stories like this aren't happening. I think there was a total of last year in 2022, 724 police killings or something of that nature, to where avenues to where we're not hearing stories like that. And again, all them police killings that are going on in America aren't just to Black people, but our number is a little higher than other cultures and everything. So therefore, just for us to keep the pressure and to keep going and to stop talking about these situations when it becomes a death, and we're talking about it when nothing's even going on. So when we have a clean streak of nobody died for 30 or 60 days, that we're still talking about ways to make our civil servants held to a standard, but also better. And so I just want to know, one, I want to say I'm sorry, rest in peace to the young man who wasn't able to experience the fullness of his life, and his life was taken away from him at 12 years old. Also to the young man, to the teacher who was murdered, and he's the one who stopped the police. And I don't believe when he went to stop the police that he thought this would be the last day of his life. So I want to say rest in power, young kings. I want to say you won't be forgotten from Supremely Black, and I'm pretty sure from a lot of other people. We want to send our condolences to your families, and we also want to say that we're here to support y'all and to help y'all and assist in any way possible that we can, and not just in words, but in actions as well. But fellas, how do y'all feel about this? What do y'all think? I know we covered this stuff far too many times over the years, but here we are again.
Short and sweet for me. Rising power to those brothers. I pray that God protects their families, their friends. In the brother's case in L.A., his classroom, the school. It's a lot of different people that were just impacted by it, man. But and I don't say this, and it is what it is, man. I just pray that every injustice that happens across America, that people realize that there's only going to be one thing that makes people step back and retreat, to realize of how their plan or plot is either working or not working. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to understand of what that is, but I pray that every single instance that occurs, that people are getting stronger in the background to understand of what the fight really is going to be, and rising power to them. That's my only take on it.
Yeah, rising power to them. This mess is crazy, especially when you think about what was going on and you have all these other options to detain somebody or get the questions asked, or you know that somebody is scared. And I just need people to understand. And I know a lot of people look at it like, well, I mean, it's drugs in the system. Well, if they did blah, blah, blah. When you are put in a situation, you are nervous and scared. You don't act like you would if you just sitting at home watching TV. When you got that situation he was in, they pointed that taser. In that man's mind, that might have been a gun for all we know, in his mind. Because when you don't think right, when you're so nervous and scared in that situation. So first, try to put yourself in somebody's shoes before you try to comment on what should have happened or what they should react. The other portion of it, a 12-year-old child lost his life. It's a whole disgrace to that whole entire piece of part. You lied for so long, and then the audio comes out where you say there is a child in the car, and then you continue on to do what you did. it's a special place in hell for people like that. It shows that our kids, they look at as adults for whatever reason. They so contradictory because it's like, oh, we ain't smart enough, but at 12 years old, we got the mind to be thinking like an adult or to be a grown. In their mind, that's how they think. So contradictory. So contradictory. I can't share a bathroom with you, but my great grandmama can breastfeed your kids. It's just so it's insane to me, you know. And as a police department, and it's one of those things I repeatedly said, you can't have just a few bad apples. You can't toss us out as a police department as a few bad apples. Well, Delta Airlines can't have a few bad apples being pilots. So if you start thinking amongst that lines, because you got people life in here, we will have better police officers. What happened to some of the times where it's like, well, whatever the situation is, what's their license plate number? We'll just chase them down. They're not going to be able to go too far. We're not going to run into them. We just going to chase them down until we can corner them in and stop them. Or it's in a situation where I talk to police officers, they say, all right, we got that license plate. We ain't got you today, but you best believe tomorrow morning. We run this license plate. We get your address. We get everything we need. You better believe tomorrow we coming for you. And if you ain't there, your mama gonna be there, sister gonna be there, somebody gonna be there, and they gonna tell us where you at and where we can get a hold of you, who was driving this car, and we coming for you. But it never should be a situation where officers are putting kids in harm's way. That don't even go across any of the rules or regulations of being an officer.
There's, it's just, all of the situations are unfortunate, man, but it's just obvious, man. Regardless of how you look at it, you can't tell me that they not moving around like a gang. That's not protecting and serving nobody's community. At this point, we seeing them do pit maneuvers with kids in the car. We seeing them hopping out of moving vehicles, shooting. I mean, you tell me, the Bloods and the Crips. I mean, really what's going on? I don't say that jokingly, like seriously. Like, I've never, in my 31 years of living, seen police be so aggressive and not be held to any kind of standard for even people to even think that there's not even a reason to adjust the laws, hold them accountable. Hell, I salute them, like them cities that's letting you, it is what it is. Because that's the type of energy I'm really big on, just reciprocating whatever going on with that. It just don't make sense to me. Like, it really don't. Like, the man was pulled over for when he pulled over to ask the cops to stop because he was in a wreck and he ends up dying. You lie about killing the 12-year-old. Like, at what point is it just like, you know what? To hell with this badge, I'm a human. If that was my 12-year-old son in the back seat, how would I feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't even have that. It's automatically behind the badge. And that's just how everybody think about it. It's sad, man. It's because even though I think there's a hell of a need for police presence, don't get me wrong, I'm not on that. But when we're saying defunding and fund some other places, this means that underserved communities should be getting some of those allowances that you all are pouring into the police department, because clearly they're not using it to do anything outside of harm to the community in certain areas. And that's just how they look at it. I don't give a damn if you just take the money and pay a nonprofit to actually show them how to intervene and do mental health checks. As long as we can see where it's going, it makes sense. But for you all to be funding them, for them to ride around in Hellcats through our city in unmarked cars, that ain't what we funding the police for this to end up happening. Now, if they protecting and serving, by all means, the funds are cool. But we're not seeing it on a large scale, especially within the inner cities. We're just not seeing those funds being used in the correct way. The training sucks. The people y'all got ain't even fit. Like, if we happen to get out and race these people, they not chasing nobody. They gonna have to use brute force because, hell, they not athletic and they not smart. Like, half of them, hell, I got more education. All I did was graduate high school. Like, some of them didn't even do that. It's like, what's really going on, bro? Like, no extra, no nothing. They don't, just, hey, can you start a car? Yeah, okay, here's your badge. Like, it don't make sense, bro. Like, it really don't. And there's no accountability, and people just all for it until it's they people. whether that's white, black, Puerto Rican, or whatever it is. That's just how it is, man. Sad.
And then the other thing with that is, I think police academy 6 or 9 months.
Yeah.
Is that really a long enough time for you to learn how to protect and serve and get all the tools, resources, and knowledge that you need to really be a civil servant for your community? So that's another thing we need to look at. But just to be transparent, I'm actually going through a case right now where some police ran up on me, and one of my charges is resisting arrest. But I do not understand why police don't understand that you just walking up on a person and telling them they under arrest without giving them a reason why, or just trying to grab on them and touch on them and point things at them, whether it be a taser or a gun, that they just supposed to sit there and accept that. Whether they under the influence, whether they're aware and coherent, whatever the case may be, ain't nobody just gonna let you just walk up on them and put cuffs on them for no reason, no explanation, no rationale. And y'all really think we just supposed to be okay with that? Y'all just walk up on us and handcuff us without telling us why, without giving an explanation or anything like that. Because the other side of the story to that is, 9 times out of 10, when you get handcuffed, you getting in the backseat of that car and you going to jail. 9 times out of 10. So then, depending on when you get arrested, you're probably not gonna see a judge for at least 24 hours, but maybe 48. So then that could fuck up your job. It could mess with taking care of your kids. Your kids might be at home by themselves or whatever the case may be. They bullshit when you get arraigned and stuff and everything, and so therefore they don't let you use the phone as soon as you get in there. So it might be hours, and when I say hours, 6 to 12 hours before you make a phone call to make the arrangements to make sure that your kids and your people okay and everything. But they just think, oh yeah, I'm just supposed to walk up on you with cuffs and you're supposed to cooperate, be all happy, smile, say what's up, bro, and be okay with it, and then everything gonna be A-okay. Nah, so to your point, Rose, cops need to have officers that don't have a badge, that are de-escalation police and mental health specialists, and that's their job. Now they could be in uniform, they can have on a bulletproof vest, because on their side there are some crazies out here. There are people who don't have no sense and don't got no care in the world and don't have no act right and act just like the police do. So it's shoot first, ask questions later. So there's some people who aren't under the protection of the badge that act just like the police do. And so I get that. So I'm not saying that police don't have a right to protect themselves or police don't have a right to be apprehensive or concerned about a situation that they're walking into. However, when you see a man who does not seem, or a woman who does not seem as any threat to you, there's no need for you to take things and escalate things to the levels that y'all do escalate things to. And so human nature is not just going to let somebody walk up on you. I don't know in any type of interaction with people that somebody just allows somebody to walk up on them in any interaction. So what makes you think that when you're behind the badge, one of the most unrespected professions in the world because of the way that y'all carry yourself, that people are just going to be comfortable with you walking up on them? And so that was my last thing that I had to say to the supporters and to the listeners. The reason why I've been dipping off lately is because I work nights, and so I got to go to work to pay these bills, to keep the lights on, and feed my kids and family. I got to go. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love my brothers. It's always good talking to y'all and having these conversations. Until we meet again.
Sure, bro. Be safe, man. Stay down.
Yes, sir.
And also, I'm allowed to walk up on me without saying anything. They want in Laverne, the little John in Laverne. That's the only one to walk up on me. I
Yeah,
already know what time it is. I already know what time it is. She walk up on me, boy.
Get me too. Get me too. Get me too.
Hey, send me a screenshot so I can see, so I can be like, okay, I'm ready.
Hey, Phil, she got the handcuffs. Come on down, bro.
Just come speeding down.
Officer.
Yeah, just come speeding down Murfreesboro Road, bro. She got you. Got you, man. But yeah, man. But nah, yeah, that's wild, man. But yeah, he was speaking about anybody that was listening. He was speaking about alleged situation. He was just being very transparent in regards to it, because if that's an open case that he's going through, he was just freely talking on the podcast that has nothing to do with his case. It is gonna put that whoever it might slide across. That was a legend.
Not speaking about his
situation
talking about it.
Transparency of the situation.
Story you heard. Yeah.
Yep. That's it. But yeah, man, we can go ahead and I didn't have nothing else in regards to that. We can go ahead and close it out.
All right. Our Supremely Black People of the Week goes to an HBCU, and the team is gonna go to the Fisk gymnastics team. They are the first HBCU to perform at the NCAA level of gymnastics. They also finished fourth. So they did an outstanding job. Big shout out to those ladies. There's about 15 of them. I want to say their names, but I don't want to murder their names. It is 15 of y'all. I'm going to say them. If I jack your name up, hey, blame my mind and not my heart, all right? So we got Zana Brewer, Lindacia Collier, Haley Clark, Zaya Coleman, Jordan Cromartie, Brianna Daniels, Kaylee McDonald, Liberty Moore, I think it's Nima Muhammad, Morgan Price, Aaliyah Reed Hammond, Kara Richmond, Kiana Session, Hassie White, and Elisa Wiggins. So shout out to those ladies. Y'all did an outstanding job. Great to represent Fisk University and gymnast and HBCUs all around in gymnastics. This team is mainly freshmen and sophomore. So they coming back. That's a hurt. These girls is more than half are freshmen. Then they have about 4 sophomores. Oh, so they coming with it. They're gonna be something to be reckoned with. They end up in 4th place in gymnastics and be that young. Oh, NCAA, y'all got some problems on hand. These women is coming for y'all neck and y'all head. We coming, like Dion said.
Yeah, we coming. I had definitely seen that they were talking about like how gymnastics is starting to look very much like us, even wrestling. So it's good to see that our people have realized that it's not all about the basketball court and the football field. Diversify a lot of these sports, and then you're gonna start to see, you're gonna make people show their true colors. Because if gymnastics becomes black, as if not as we haven't seen it, because we've definitely seen some very talented individuals, but I've seen some live footage from gymnastics like at those major competitions. And I'm gonna tell you, it looks good to see us in there in droves. I'm talking about men and now celebrating their daughters. They hype. I said, now keep in mind, they flipping off of garbage cans and shit in the hood. So y'all give them folks a real mattress.
The mattresses that was thrown out.
Them pissing mattresses. Then listen, they used to flipping off them pissing mattresses. Y'all give them some real springboard. Y'all might be in trouble. Yeah,
hey, everybody grew up in the hood. I always know the 1 or 2 people that just randomly do a backflip out of nowhere. They ain't did no stretches. They did nothing. They just out the blue.
Yeah. Or the ones that would jump off of anything. Literally.
Right.
So I love it. I think that's great. I'm glad you pointed out, because it came across my Instagram the other day of how actually the top 3 gymnasts are actually black women from the last competition they had back in August of 2022. So right now the top people in the game are black women. So keep doing your thing. Major shout out to them, because if they freshmen, ain't no graduating early from that, so they're gonna be killing the game for a minute.
They're gonna be
and influencing others as well. So I didn't even get a black business person, and they really need to start getting this, since we're gonna be dropping off early if we do it like that. But I would just say this, man, since we don't have a Black Business Minute, is let's stop this. That's how we end it. The dead conversations of how a man should be and how a woman should be. Let's leave that in 2022. I am so sick of a man telling a woman what they need to do and what a woman telling a man what they need to do. This is what you need to do. Get your own therapy, go through your own counseling, find somebody who loves you and grow with them. Because trying to coach to the world and teach to the world, it's just a never-ending cycle, man. You know, women are experts on men and men are experts on women. How we got to this place in life, I have no idea, but save your time, save your energy, because burning up my free data listening to y'all tired-ass conversations about that is getting old, man. Leave that in 2022. So leave it.
Kevin Samuels passed away. Now everybody hot. Everybody know what women and men should do. Everybody.
Yeah, like, get out of here, man. Like, this is what made me realize that he honestly, regardless of how people didn't like him, and because he started out killing average, below average men that thought they was really something because they've been the ego stroke their entire life. Just realized that he had a very unique message and understood the differences in what men and women wanted. And he was able to articulate that to a point that it frustrated people with how true it was. Kevin Samuels was one of a kind. Like, hate him or love him. Like I said, I like when he was getting at the men for thinking that they was hot shit. But when he started, ruffling the women feathers, that's when it went viral because you heard, yeah, exactly.
Like I said, the first viral thing I seen is him going off on dudes.
Like we sharing in the group, like, bro, he burning him down. Like,
right. But then when he did the women, that's when it caught fire. But everybody ignored the videos where he would come on and be like, hey, these are top 5 colognes for men in the summertime. Hey, these are 3 suits that every man should own.
Because he was a fashion guru amongst all his people. So it's like he knew how to dress, he knew how to style, he knew how he knew how to put himself together, and he was amongst other quote unquote celebrities, styling them, dressing them amongst all of the what was happening. So he was known amongst people. He was just
so he been in rooms to say, this dude, this type of man you looking for. I've been around all these men, and these are the type of women that they look for. You know what I mean? Or I've been around all these women that's at this certain level, and these are the type of women, these are the type of men that they look for. So it like well, he was speaking on what I have seen. Now y'all enjoyed him being disrespectful because it got the likes, it got the clicks, it made you laugh, it made you mad. But at the same time, sometimes a lot of people's going on there asking for him to be disrespectful. You would say certain things, he's like, don't do that. And then you would say it again, he's like, all right, I'm gonna let you get this work.
Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, that's it.
Simple as that. But yeah, you're right. Let's just leave it there because everybody has had their own dating experiences, and everybody's not going to agree with everybody agree with. All women ain't a certain way. All certain type of women ain't a certain way because she treated you like that. Because I'm swearing to do that, they're like, that ain't the experience I had. And all men of a certain way is not like that. And I'm sure another one come you like, well, I dated a dude like that. Ain't the experience I had. Everybody has their own different experiences until they find the person they love. Everybody trash until you meet that one that you want to marry. That's basically what it is. Everybody you dated before they're trash until you meet the one you want to be.
Yeah. Because you hardly have anybody bragging on their ex loudly anyway. I ain't got no beef with mine, but
I ain't got no mine either.
Some people got horror stories. I ain't
gonna say that. I ain't gonna say they trash. They just wouldn't what you was exactly.
I mean, that's you. The thing is like you evolve in life, so it may not even been anything personally with you all. It's just you outgrew each other, and you were mature enough to say, "This ain't it."
That's it.
And that's just sometimes that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
You start dating at 18, 19, 20, and you get 24, you might like a different type of level. And then when you turn 28, you might be looking for something else. Then when you turn 33, you like, nah, I ain't got time for all that. Been there. I want. So, like you said, we need to stop doing it because it's an ongoing conversation, a lot of riffraff back and forth. We all need therapy. We all need somebody to talk to at the end of the day.
Simple as that, bro. Simple. You can go ahead and close it out, though.
Yeah.
Stacey.
For all our queens out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side, and let them know you are a queen. For all our kings out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side, let them know you are a king. We are Supremely Black Podcast, and we out.